the Hathor, the alchemical chalice of your heart. We greet you and honor you as we meet in this field of all possibilities. We encourage you to truly claim your magnificence. We encourage you to recognize and accept your power to evoke a far better world. It is in these moments that your mastery of energetic transformation and the unexplainable knowledge you possess can and must manifest. Break the chains of your limiting beliefs. Shake off the programming of fear that is constantly offered to you. Look beyond the obvious and understand that what is depicted is only one of the possible realities that could come to pass. Now is the time to begin shaping the reality that honors the well-being and magnificence of others. Ride these waves of dysfunctional energy. Hold firm your vision of a world where all beings are nourished, cared for, and honored for their unique gifts they bring and offer. Fearlessly maintain your faith in a world of peace that honors all living and sentient beings. When you hold the clarity of your vision steady, when you infuse it with the energy and intention of your heart, you anchor it into the quantum field of all possibilities. You are literally evoking a new world, in a new dimension, and on a new timeline. We recognize the personal challenges each of you faces. What we would like to convey to you is that these challenges and this physical life you are living are only one aspect of who you are as multidimensional divine beings. Yes, we understand the many earthly trials and difficulties. We are also observing the events that generate fear in the hearts and minds of those who allow it. We witness these atrocities. The focus of consciousness on your planet continues to bring dysfunction to its highest level. These are forces of misplaced power and greed. These forces that generate and maintain a reality that impoverishes all forms of life with horrific and atrocious actions against others and the environment are only one expression of consciousness. Do not pour your energy, your attention, into this reality. Notice when fear is triggered or judgment creeps into your conversations or thoughts. Shift your focus. Bless those who are experiencing the situation as well as those who are creating it, and immediately visualize a different outcome and a contrasting creation. You are called, invited, to recognize and claim your abilities, to offer a vision of a different reality. In every situation, in every challenge, multiple realities are always available. Remember that you are a co-creator, and now is the time to claim this as your birthright. Practice maintaining a consistent frequency of gratitude, appreciation, and joy. Offer your coherent vibrations as often and as frequently as possible in every situation. This intentional action is your power. Be discerning and aware of when you are under the influence of the collective emotional wave. When you feel discouraged, afraid, or even overwhelmed, realize in that precise moment that you can and must transcend these incoherent frequencies. You are opening up and awakening to the awareness of feeling and experiencing the energetic emotions carried by the collective consciousness. One of the many abilities of your personal awakening is the awareness of being a sensitive being, capable of perceiving the emotional nature of others. In the awakening occurring in humanity's consciousness, extrasensory perceptions that have been suppressed and repressed for eons are emerging. When you begin to awaken personally, it can be overwhelming to feel and perceive all the discordant emotional energies present in the collective matrix. As multidimensional beings, one of the many aspects and gifts that manifest is the awakening of the sixth sense. Perhaps you are experiencing strange shifts in perception, hearing voices, being overwhelmed by emotions that don't belong to you, having the feeling of knowing without clear knowledge. Celebrate these abilities. Celebrate and welcome the ability to see beyond physical limits. Your reality calls this ability clairvoyance. Celebrate and welcome the ability to perceive, feel, and intuitively identify stuck emotions and energies as a clairsentient. Clairaudience is the ability to hear vibrations and inner guidance. Celebrate and welcome this expanded awareness. Many are beginning to see, perceive, or feel the energy field surrounding living beings. Many are also experiencing powerful lucid dreams during sleep, when it is easier to travel between different dimensions and times. Many are experiencing the ability to shift from normal dimensions to paranormal dimensions and back at will. This ability we would define as morphing. Welcome and invoke the multi-dimensional ability to know without the need for mental data, to receive guidance from your inner realms of truth. These different aspects and multi-dimensional abilities are emerging. This is the transformation of consciousness taking place within each of you. We invite you to welcome these abilities, to allow them to emerge into your consciousness, for they are tools that will serve you well in the days ahead. However, when they first activate in your system, it can be alarming. We invite you to be gentle and patient with yourselves. Hold these abilities in a state of grace as you integrate them into your waking consciousness. Hold the intention that these sensations and this awareness are always generated from the purest source of love and light that envelops your planet. Hold the intention and frequency of always being under the law of divine protection. It is important that you allow yourself to express any dissonant energy, whether personal or collective. Use the tools of sound and make this action sacred as you release what you feel. With clear and sincere intentions, remember to always fill the void you have just created with this release work with qualities and emotions that vibrate at a higher frequency. You are a transformer of dysfunctional energy. There are countless energetic practices that can and want to transform vibrations. Use all the tools at your disposal. Engage and invite celestial and divine support and assistance. They are always available upon request. Remember, it is in the chalice of the heart that the alchemy of transformation takes place. Focus your heart's awareness and, with clear intentions, send healing energy, like a laser beam, toward any situation. Practice connecting with the awareness and wisdom of your heart. Over time, you will begin to trust this wisdom even before your mind raises doubts. Focus your heart's awareness on a reality that supports all life, and, in this alchemical chalice of your heart's energy, visualize, evoke, and anchor a new reality, a new world. Know that you become immensely powerful when your attention is turned to your sacred heart. Life Tapestry Creations, you no longer need 3D fear. Dear Stones, you are probably impatient with this eons-long transition process. Until now, most of you have blocked the process you accepted eons ago, Earth's transition from fear to love. You did this to fully project the fear and anguish that have been predominant throughout your three-dimensional lives. Between one Earth assignment and another, you created the means for this transition between Earth and yourself. In a sense, you accepted an assignment and completely immersed yourself in it every time you were physically on Earth. When you were in other environments, you reviewed your earthly actions and devised new ideas on how and when facing any fear would help you better understand the three-dimensional dimension once you return to Earth in another life. Be aware of how diligently you have worked for eons to create this transition from fear to love. While on Earth, you sought to fully experience fear to determine if 3D was a more productive model than you had imagined when you first accepted this transition assignment. Between one Earth life and another, you and your companions retraced what had happened while you were on Earth and how to clarify, renew efforts, or accept earthly rewards as you began one Earth life after another. This ongoing pattern of learning, review, and teaching has reduced your interest in 3D fear to the point that you and the millions of others who volunteered for this program understood that this Earth life would be the last transition for which you had volunteered eons ago. Your three-dimensional fear experiment on Earth has been both a success and a failure. You have tested and studied three-dimensional fear for eons, reaching the conclusion that it is not a fun or positive experience. You and your colleagues have declared that three-dimensional fear is no longer productive, and that it is punitive. Naturally, there are still people on Earth who remain trapped in the three-dimensional dimension, seemingly satisfied with themselves and their achievements, much like those Earth ancestors who refused to transition from horse and carriage to automobile. Many of you wonder if 3D graphics will continue in the future as a memory of what was. We of the universe can only say that perhaps there will be a few specimens that survive here and there in the coming generations, but, as happened with the various forms of transportation that are now key elements of your world, beasts of burden, like horses, continue to exist, but they are not the dominant or only form of transportation in most of Earth. Because of you and your companions, the Earth 3D experiment is over. As a result, those who continue to promote 3D actions are rapidly losing your admiration. They seem cruel and inappropriate to you, because you want to dance and they want to harm others. You want to fly and they want to hide under a rock. You want to love and they want to hate. Those who remain faithful to three-dimensionality are completely out of fashion, just as it would be if you felt the need to dress in medieval English attire for all your daily activities. You could do so, but you would be ridiculed, discussed, shamed, and considered too strange to interact with. And so it is, and will be for those who continue to promote fear instead of love. Perhaps some of you continue to fear those who are completely immersed in 3D, not because you need to, but because they activate all the 3D fear mechanisms you have experienced throughout your eons of Earth lives. You have defeated fear. Now it is time to live in love. The first step is to ignore these 3D anomalies as much as possible, because it is time for you to focus on love and joy. If you feel this is not yet possible, because the fear surrounding you is too great to ignore, turn to your inner world to determine the most appropriate way to remove that fear from your being. As we of the universe have long stated, turn to your inner world not to hide from the world, but to create a new world of love. So be it. Amen. Now giving birth to the new. The shift in consciousness is now widespread. We are being elevated beyond the old Earth and what has been before, into a state of total transfiguration and new birth. Last night I was led into the vast crystal pyramid temple chambers of the new creation, and shown what was taking place, and this on all levels of the new creation. I was shown how everything was reborn and created anew at the multidimensional, solar, galactic, and universal levels, and the message was strong and clear: behold, I make all things new. You will become increasingly aware of your inner changes, and at the same time, you will begin to see, hear, and know with new eyes, ears, and intuition. Suddenly you begin to see with your third eye more than with your physical eyes, as all your soul faculties become fully activated. And, even more powerfully, you realize you can no longer hurt or harm anyone or anything, as the deep awareness that all creation is sacred, holy, complete, allows you to experience unity with everything, everyone, and every person. You retain your splendid integrity, holiness, and innocence, and at the same time, you find your ideal place, serving with all your heart and soul. Furthermore, every soul possesses free will, and the possibility of choice, and can decide not to ascend but to remain in the old Earth. Surrounded by my ascended masters, I was led into the rose quartz temple pyramids, belonging to the divine feminine, which holds the powers of the pyramids together with the sacred sisterhood of the holy rose. This cosmic sisterhood has nurtured immense love for all souls who have served on planet Earth, and so often they have incarnated to hold the flame of love steady in times of great darkness. Now they are assisting in the full opening of the hearts and souls of souls on Earth, and they literally hold us in the arms of pure love, as we are reborn at all higher levels, including the higher levels of Christ consciousness. The time has come to fully open to what is being born, and to let go of everything we are still clinging to, even unconsciously. Let us welcome rebirth into purity, innocence, love, unity, and joy. Remembering that every soul is always carefully guided and given, once at a time, what it can bear, no more. If they were all activated simultaneously, your physical body might not be able to handle the current octaves of illumination. You are loved, cared for, and guided through these miraculous changes. Judith. The Arcturian group, everyone is feeling the effects. Dear readers, everyone is feeling the effects of the incoming high-frequency energy, and its cellular integration, along with the personal and global purification taking place. The result is that you are witnessing increasingly aggressive behaviors, but at the same time, You are learning about the love and kindness that prevail in completely unexpected situations. Try not to worry about negative appearances, because they represent the last spasms of a dying belief system and the energies that support it. Some people are living fully from a three-dimensional consciousness, and instead of allowing old energies to flow and purify, they feel permission to align with these energies and act upon them. However, at the same time, more and more people are awakening from their long-held belief systems, feeling drawn to knowledge of God, truth, and a life lived at a higher level. For many, it has become a period of questioning and wondering where the long-awaited new world is, or if it will ever arrive. As we have stated many times, your task, as spiritually evolved beings, is to be the light that gradually replaces the dense energy of Earth's current collective consciousness, allowing it to manifest as an expression of love and unity rather than fear, doubt, resistance, anxiety, anger, etc. In the material world, individuals appear to possess separate consciousness, but in reality, all consciousness is one single consciousness, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, divine consciousness. What you perceive as separate consciousnesses is actually the one divine consciousness, interpreted individually according to each person's state of awareness. Most human beings believe that a God separate from them is the sole creator, and since many do not know that they themselves and every other person are individualized expressions of this one creator God, they are not aware that they themselves are the creators of the very world from which they pray for relief. An important aspect of Earth's current transition toward higher dimensional energies is the balance between masculine and feminine energy. Both men and women are opening to greater awareness regarding current, but now outdated world concepts of what constitutes masculine and feminine, but men continue to be pressured toward dominance and emotional repression, while women are presented as weak and inferior to men in every way. Divine consciousness/God/reality is both masculine and feminine, the two halves of one divine, in perfect balance and expression as one. The divine masculine is the decision-making, active, concrete aspect, while the divine feminine is the loving, receptive, and intuitive aspect. The masculine aspect of every person, whether man or woman, expresses itself as strength, assertiveness, fearlessness, confidence, and courage, while the feminine aspect expresses itself as intuition, empathy, love, and support in all aspects of daily life, balancing each other. When the balance between masculine and feminine is achieved in the spiritual evolutionary path, it is called a mystical marriage, and gives birth to a new, spiritually more evolved state of consciousness. Like everything in the three-dimensional world, this spiritual reality manifests materially in the union of masculine and feminine, from which a completely new person is created. Centuries of beliefs about separation and the naturally more aggressive nature of masculine energy have created belief systems that have allowed the divine feminine to be denigrated, punished, abused, bought and sold, and relegated to a condition of inferiority to the masculine in every aspect. Even today, almost every consciousness retains a part of this energy, because, whether one is a man or a woman, every person has been in some way subject to these beliefs. One aspect of these teachings that remains alive and well in many areas of society, organized religion, and traditional belief systems is the belief that it is a woman's task, duty, and spiritual obligation to serve the needs of others even at the expense of her personal expression, and that this constitutes love. As ascension energies bring the masculine/feminine into greater balance and self-determination begins to manifest, many women feel confused. Some choose to continue repressing their creativity, ideas, projects, and dreams, believing that acting upon them would be wrong, selfish, unloving, and unspiritual, while others declare, silently or openly, enough. Outdated and false concepts regarding the divine feminine continue to be promoted by those who fear any change to their entrenched belief systems, believing that recognizing feminine equality would diminish the masculine and represent an affront to their conception of a dominant male god. Some men choose to reclaim and practice the outdated concepts of masculinity currently promoted. Some try to behave more like women, while most are simply confused about their role as men. At the same time, some women think the solution is to suppress femininity and assert masculinity, while others choose to fall back into old concepts that paint women as clingy, dependent on others, and less courageous, intelligent, creative, wise, or spiritual than men. This is a difficult and confusing time for anyone who does not understand that the masculine and feminine aspects of each person are evolving to remain intact, balancing and supporting each other. Renouncing one's individuality for a false sense of duty, as a parent, friend, or social worker is not love, humility, or spirituality, but an old thought pattern. Considering your true self less worthy of support, love, help, and respect than that of another is an insult to the God within each of us. Every person must love and respect their own divinity in order to love and respect that of others. It is important for men and women to understand that loving never means allowing oneself to be physically, emotionally, mentally, or even spiritually abused or exploited. Many caregiving situations are part of a prenatal spiritual contract between one person and another, and there are many cases where a soldier has voluntarily sacrificed their life for a fellow soldier, but we are speaking of situations where, out of a false sense of duty, conditioning, false religious belief, or desire for praise, a person ignores their divine individuality. Trust and let your intuition guide you in situations where others need you in some way. Do not be afraid to ask for help, and say, I need help. Turn off into your inner world to recognize and align with the completeness of your divine self, which will allow you to begin manifesting it outwardly as what is needed. It is every spiritually awakened soul's task to have a hand ready to grasp another who asks for help, but it is never their task to jump into the ditch someone has created for themselves and force them out, believing they are saving them. Spiritual emancipation is fully present in every person's consciousness, but it is not an acquired right, power, control, or dominion. Spiritual emancipation is the courage to express your truth, make your own decisions, choose what you want in life without bending to what others or society choose for us. Divine emancipation is a state of consciousness that knows that God expresses individually through every person, and that love is the realization that everyone, including oneself as well as all life, is divine, and currently having three-dimensional experiences. Allow your true self to be your security, your protection, your guide, your teacher, your support, your life, and your reality. We are the Arcturian group. Galactic message, transcending the temporary. Everything you perceive through the senses is temporary. Every image, sound, emotion, circumstance, relationship, possession, success, and disappointment appears in your awareness, remains for a period of time, and eventually changes form. When this truth is fully understood, life experiences begin to find their proper place. Difficult moments no longer seem infinite. The painful chapter no longer defines your entire story. You begin to remember, this too shall pass. Yet this wisdom does not apply only to suffering. Beautiful experiences are also temporary. Joy, success, recognition, well-being, and even the circumstances you once dreamed of creating are moving expressions within the divine flow. Enjoy them fully, appreciate them deeply, but do not cling to them. Attachment begins when you demand that something temporary become permanent. Suffering begins when you build your identity around something that was always meant to change. Transcending the temporary does not mean withdrawing from life. It means participating fully while remembering that you are greater than anything you can experience. You are not a passing emotion. You are not a circumstance. You are not victory or defeat. You are the awareness in which all these things arise. And this awareness is always found here and now. The divine flow did not exist yesterday. It will not exist tomorrow. It exists in the eternal present, the timeless space in which life continuously appears, transforms, and dissolves. Let experiences come. Let experiences go. Love without possessing. Receive without attachment. Let go without believing something essential has been taken from you. When you stop asking the ephemeral world to tell you who you are, something profound happens. You begin to find rest in that which neither comes nor goes. You transcend the temporary. And you remember the eternal within you.